Hey guys, so today I'm going to work on a project for the camper here, and what I want to do is I'm going to be modifying a bike rack and building a custom mount to fit on the back of my camper here so that I can haul our bicycles. This is a project I've been kind of putting off for a while, and I want to go ahead and do it because lately when we take the bicycles to our camping site, I usually just put them in the back of the truck, which is kind of a pain in the butt when you've got other things to put in there, you know. So I've got a bike rack here I'll show you that was given to me back whenever I bought this camper, and it's not really the style that I would like to have, but it's free and I'm going to use it. I'm going to make it work for this, and I think it'll work out pretty well. So let me show you what we're going to do right here. Okay, now this is something that I've already shown previously where I built a separate hitch that goes on the back of the camper here, and that's this guy right here. I fabricated that, and it's actually bolted into the frame of the trailer on both sides there, and this is so that it'll support a lot heavier weight. This is a cargo carrier and a bag system that I bought off Amazon, and really all I do is I have some totes in here, and I hold all of my my grilling and barbecue gear and charcoal and stuff like that in there. I've also got my spare tire sitting on top of that. Spare tire holder is something else that I'm going to be fabricating that we can mount to the bumper on one side and have the spare tire sort of like in this general area right there. Okay, so anyway, what I was going to show is this is another mount that I bought right here off of Amazon, and I think this is intended, you know, to actually mount underneath the bumper there so that you can mount accessories like this right here or a bike rack. But this is how I intended on mounting it right here. So what I want to do is build a bike rack that comes up high, and the bikes can sit back here behind the camper above the cargo carrier here. You know, use this real estate up here that's not being used for anything else. So this is the bike rack that was given to me right here. This is made to hold 4 bicycles. Now I don't need it to hold 4 bicycles, so I don't plan on using the entire thing. This front section here slides out of this 2-inch tube there, so you can just add that on if you was to carry 4 bicycles. As I've bought a slip tube here, and also got a couple of the hitch pins that we're going to use, and I'm going to take this piece of 2-inch tubing. This is a drop that I had, 2x2 3/16 wall. It does not need to be 3/16 wall, but this is what I have in stock. You can use 1/8 wall, and it's going to give you plenty of strength for something like we're doing here. All right, so this is going to go down into there like so. There is a built-in set screw, so it's just sitting on that set screw right now. All right, so we've got it sticking up. We'll take this slip tube here, and I am going to weld it onto the top of that right there, nice and square to everything. All right, so it'll be sticking up there just like that. It'll be properly mounted there. We're going to have some set screws there. I'm also going to add some metal in here and then drill and tap it for 2 additional set screws so that when we stick the bike rack in here, I can tighten the set screws and it doesn't wiggle around. I'm going to try to eliminate all the play that I can. See that right there? We'll have set screws in there so that this does not rock around. All right, so once that's welded in there, then we can take that guy, stick it in right there, and hang the bicycles. So I believe it's a little bit taller than I need. Once you install this into there, maybe a little bit tall, but I'm going to leave it the length that it is so that if I need to adjust it, if I want to bring it down just a little bit, all I got to do is just cut the bottom and then drill the hole that I need to in there. So that is going to be the game plan, and let's get started. One thing I forgot to mention is that another reason why I decided to put the bike rack back here, I was going back and forth between putting maybe one on the front or the back of the camper here, but I'm going to put it on the back, and let me show you why. They do build a bike rack called a jacket that mounts underneath the jack of the camper. They've got a mount that you take the jack off and you mount it under that and put the jack back on, and it raises it up and comes over this way, and you put your bikes up here. And I was almost tempted to go that route. One of the problems that I found, and I'm glad I watched another YouTuber's video on the install, is that the distance between here and the bottom of the the plate on the jacket is 21 inches, so you got, this has to be less than 21 inches. I measured this being 24 and a quarter, so if I would have bought that, this wouldn't have worked, and that's what problem he had. He had to get a different jack that fit underneath there. The other reason why is because I actually want to utilize this space up here later. I'm going to do another modification. We're going to build a rack that goes up, and I'm gonna have a generator up here. We're gonna buy a generator, have it on board, and you know, so that's going to be a whole nother video series right there. All right. This is the receiver that gets bolted onto the back of the bumper in a vertical position there, and I'm just going to show you what we're going to do. You can see they already had it drilled and tapped for a bolt right there, but I don't really care for that. So, you know, in typical A-bomb style, we're going to kind of overbuild this thing, and I'm just going to show you what we're going to do. So that's the pin that's going to go through, and just kind of keep it retained. All right, now we cut these two discs out of some 1-inch cold rolled steel, some round bar. I'm going to weld those on right there. We will clean the paint off, get rid of the sticker, and get these welded on. And then I'm going to go to the mill, drill and tap it for 1/2-13. I've got these stainless steel set screws, and those will go in there, and then we'll be able to use those two set screws to tighten against the insert and keep it from rocking around. One other thing I'm going to do, I cut me a piece of plate right here, and I'm going to weld this to this side area here. This will be the bottom, and we'll just weld this on. And the way this is, water will drain out of there. So weld this on just so that whenever I go and stick this big 2-inch piece of tube in there, I don't have to hold it up and stick the pin, and I can just stick it in there. I'll have the holes aligned, then I'll be able to pin it and then tighten the set screws. Now this is the weld on slip tube right here, and we're gonna do the same thing. I got the two discs. We'll get those welded on in the center. Welded, drilled, and tapped for our set screws there as well. Just going to drill and tap both these for 1/2-13. We're not centering up with any indicator. I've just got everything scaled using my scale to center up the drill, and drill it 27/64, tap it with a 1/2-13 gun tap. We got a planer gauge here to just served as like a jack to hold this, because we're just clamped on this plate right here, and that'll keep it from flexing down while I'm applying downward pressure. We're going to go ahead and sew this thing up. By the way, I have been using my Miller-Matic 251 flux core wire with gas, and it's flowing in there really good. I went back and forth thinking maybe I should put a gusset in here. Honestly, I don't think this is going to need a gusset as heavy as this is. Now I'm going to put a lot of weld on this. There's not a lot of weight hanging out on this thing, just 2 aluminum bicycles. I don't think that a gusset is really needed for this, so I'm just going to put a heavy fillet all the way around this, and I feel like that's going to be more than adequate to do what we want to do. So I am using the Fireball Monster Square, the mini. Yeah, see that flows in there nice and pretty right there. I'm also using the shop blocks. I've got them underneath this tube here, 1/4 inch, just to evenly space the 2-inch tube in the middle of this 2.5-inch tube. All right, guys, it's the next morning. We got some daylight out here to film now. So we've got our piece finished on this end, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a test fit. We're going to do a test fit here, put it all together, and see what the height is, because I couldn't really get a good height without having everything together to find out if I'm too high. I think I'm going to have to cut a little bit off of this thing. Just like that. All right, here's the actual bike rack itself. Use the pin, keep it locked in place. And see, without the set screws, see we got some rock there. That flex is actually the bumper down there. That's that thin steel bumper. But I like that. It does not move around and wiggle, so I'm gonna be happy with that there. There's a better look of what it'll look like back here on the back of the camper here. We'll hang our bike right here. I'm liking the way it's looking. We'll just modify this and bring her down some more. Get the tire a little closer to the top of the cargo. What we can definitely tell is that we're way too high. I need to bring it down. Plus I'm standing on my concrete, which is already elevated anyway. So I'm gonna do some measurements right here between the tires, or maybe this, and the top of my luggage rack right there, and we'll just make this a comfortable height, bring it down to where this is not hindering with the cargo bag on the back of the camper. So it looks like we can bring it down, you know, a good foot or so. Just going to get a measurement there, to the top of the cargo bag. So that's about 23 inches there. I'm just going to call it 2 foot. I'm just going to bring it down 12 inches. All right, let's check our height now. Lowered it 12 inches. Let's see, let me get that in the middle there. Got to get the pedal position the way you want it when you go to put it up there. All right. I think that's going to work better right there. I don't know if I need to probably play with this off camera a little bit, make sure that this is going to be good. I think that's going to be fine. We could probably lower it down about half that if we wanted to, but I think that's going to work out good. These right here, these straps come over and connect in to the pin. That secures the tires on each side. And there should be like another strap that you tie onto it that keeps it from rocking. I'm probably going to have to use some bungee cords to just wrap it to the frame there. There we've got both bikes mounted up onto the bike rack. I've done a little bit of positioning so that I could get them to fit on there. I remember trying this out on the back of the truck and having difficulty with this particular type of bike rack, getting both bikes kind of worked in there together. So I was able to lift it up so that my seat goes over the handlebars of Abby's bike right there, and it's just above that. So all we got to do is just from there, you know, strap the tires in with these straps, and then I'll just take a bungee cord and just bungee cord it around to keep it all together. And I think that's going to work out good. What do you think?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to work.
You cut it. It's perfect. It's the perfect.
I brought it down 12 inches there.
Yeah.
And that worked out pretty good because I was concerned maybe taking it a little bit down, a little bit further. You know, and your bike sits a little bit lower,
yeah.
So that brings it a little bit closer to the cargo. So what I think we're going to do is just go ahead and test this out. You know, go camping with it. We got another trip pretty soon, and I'm just going to see how it works out like that. And if I need to, I can cut it again and bring this down a little bit closer to the cargo carrier there.
Awesome.
Well, then we got left to do now is I need to drill the hole here for the hitch pin. So I've got my 5/8 transfer punch and a hammer, and we're just gonna. The tube is just sitting down on that plate that I welded on the bottom, and it's locked in with the set screw. So let's put this transfer punch right there in the hole, and just kind of line it up square with everything, and give it a little taparoo. looks like it's lining up good. Get our pin in there, snug our set screws down, and we are ready to go. All right guys, we got our custom hitch completed to hold the bike right here, and what I've done right here is pretty good. These rock around because they're just pinned right here with these lynch pins, but I mean that's how all that stuff is designed, so I think it's going to work out good. So this build is complete with the exception of paint, so I'm going to just do that off camera, wire brush it real good. I'm going to go get some probably just some spray paint and just spray paint that to keep it from rusting. Now there is one more modification that I'm probably going to do to this, which will be a separate project. I want to modify the slip tube down there that this is in. I'm going to modify it so that it's actually bolted in also with the hitch that I fabricated that's bolted into the camper there. I'm going to have it all where it's tied together to, I believe it's going to help eliminate some of this. That rocking right there, a lot of that is actually that steel bumper down there flexing. So I think if I tie that bumper in down there to the one that I fabricated, it'll help give it some more stability and rigidity there and help eliminate that. So I'm going to do that, but that'll be another little quickie project that I'll show on a separate video. All right, so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Looking forward to finally being able to carry these bikes without having to throw them in the back of the truck now when we go camping. So the other thing that I did before I put all this together, I wanted to show you this lower piece here. This is a piece of steel that I cut and welded to this receiver here. All right, and then I've got it bolted into this lower bumper that I fabricated. So this piece right here is actually also being supported by this lower bumper, so it's all tied in together. I had put this together the other day, yesterday, whenever I was fabricating, and I think it's going to be fine, but you do see a slight amount of flex in this steel tubing right here, this little thin bumper. So I wanted to give it some extra rigidity, tie it all together, so that's what we've done. We've just bolted it all together so that it's kind of, you know, all married as one.